Alright, in this video I'll be doing the jailbreak on my PS3. This PS3 is one of the serial numbers 2501 Alpha, and I'm running firmware 4.9. So before I do the jailbreak, I'll just jump into the PlayStation Store. If you didn't know this already, you could actually run PlayStation 1 games on your PlayStation 3 in general, but you could also download them off the PlayStation Store. I think they cost about $15 to as low as maybe $9. You can see that Mega Man 1350. There's also a whole bunch in here that are sort of $10 or less. So if you didn't want to do the whole jailbreak and you just wanted to run games, you could do that, no problem. But obviously I'm doing this jailbreak for interest's sake. And PlayStation 2, same deal. You can get them as low as $10. And then you could run these on your PlayStation 3. Anyway, this is obviously a jailbreak video, so I'll get into it. You need your PS3 connected to the internet. You need a computer with internet. You need a USB. And the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that the time is set correctly and just do a update via internet. And the reason you need to do that is for whatever reason in the jailbreak software, it says your time has to be set correctly. A couple other things you might want to do, especially if you're playing online, is to turn automatic updates to off so that your system doesn't try to update without your consent in the future. And now we're going to go into the internet browser on the PlayStation 3. So the first thing we're going to do is click the triangle button, and we're going to go up to Tools, and we are going to set the home page to Use Blank Page. Then we'll hit the triangle button, and we'll go into the Tools section, and we're going to pretty much clear all the old stuff. So the cookies, then go back into Tools, we're going to do the search history, then we're going to go back into Tools, clear the cache, and then finally we're going to delete the authentication information. So really just clearing out all the old stuff out of here. One thing I did end up doing, it's not really in the video, is I did make a additional user, so I just have a blank user instead of the one with my name. And I was going to do a lot of the saving and downloading of things, but then it occurred to me that PlayStation 3 costs about $40, so even if I break this thing, I don't know. I guess I don't really care. So if you really care about your PlayStation 3 and it's got a whole bunch of value to you, you might actually want to do some of the backups and save files and stuff like that. I just went right at it because this is pretty much a blank PS3 anyway after I put in a new hard drive. So I'm going to go into the PS3 Tools site. Basically just input ps3tools.com into the search, hit OK, and it'll bring this up. Yes, run the plugin, and then it's going to do some thinking. Now, you have to get into this program, and it didn't initially let me get into it. So you'll see it popped up that yellow warning, and it's going to throw up a couple red warnings on me as well. So there's the red warnings I got. What I did to get through this is restart the system, create new user, which is just a blank username, and then it worked. This is after I reset it and then started with a blank user. And you can see that I got through the whole process successfully. So then I go over to the system monitor button in the middle. And if you can't get to this stage, you're going to have some problems. I don't think you'll be able to do the jailbreak successfully. And you can see I do have the CFW compatible PS3. It's got that check mark. You can see my firmware is 4.90, and it's got the CEX designation there. So one of the things you can do to back some things up here is save your flash memory, which I do, but if it all went bad, I'd just change the hard drives out on my PS3. Like I said, I could just buy a new PS3 for like $40 Canadian off Marketplace and get 2 controllers with it. So it's really not that dramatic if I destroy this thing. Anyway, you can see that I'm saving the firmware, put it on a USB, and then I save it onto my computer later. There's ways you can check it, but I don't bother to do that. So now I'm just going to go download the custom firmware. I'll throw some links to all this somewhere down in the description. Hit that download button, obviously, and it's going to save it as a zip file. I use the CEX version of this. However, later on I go back and I get the PEX/CEX, so the one at the very top of the list. And I'm going to just dump that into my USB folder. You don't necessarily need to do that before you unzip it, because you can actually unzip it and then just drag and drop the file once it's unzipped. So anyway, all you really need in there is the PS3 folder that you get once you unzip the package there. it should say PS3 update, and then obviously the PUP file needs to be in there. So I'm just going to take everything that is not required to install the custom firmware and dump that into a separate PS3 folder on my computer desktop, and then my USB will just have the file that says PS3, and in that will be a folder that says update, and in that is the PUP file, and that's it. And I used WinZip for everything. I had to download that. Anyway, I turn off the PS3 before I do anything, and then I'm gonna shove the USB stick into the PS3, obviously. I'm not sure if it matters. I use the rightmost USB port. I'm gonna go to System Update. I'm gonna hit Update. I'm gonna do this 4.9 EvilNat CEX version of this. Basically, this is gonna fail. So this is unsuccessful, and I don't make it through all the way. And the reason is I do need to do one additional step here. So you could get this error that I get, which is the data is corrupted, and you can see the number for it there. This can be fixed fairly easily, so I'll just get out of everything. So in order to fix this, we need to go back into the PlayStation 3 tool set, and we're going to go to something called Flash Memory Patch. So click on that, and then we're going to go to Load Patch via HTTP. That one right there, and then your system's going to do some thinking. Obviously, don't try and stop it. Just let it go. And you can see Flash Memory Manager, download operations in progress. And then once it says done everywhere, you can close that out. And then I'm going to go back to the Flash Memory Patch. Obviously, click on it. And then I'm going to apply the downloaded patch. It's going to ask me if I'm sure about what I want to do. And obviously I am sure of what I want to do. And this takes a little bit of time actually, so you might want to go get yourself a coffee or go do something else. But you don't have to do anything to the system while it's doing this, so just walk away and come back in 15 minutes. And then once it's done, you can just close it out. And in fact, you can close out of everything here. Now I do turn everything off and I restart the system. And like I said, I've got that new user that I'm using everything under. Maybe you can use your regular one, I don't know. I'll go to System Update, Update via USB. You can see that it says the PEX. I did change which one I was using. I don't think it matters though, so if you want to use the CEX, that's fine. If you want to use the PEX with the CEX, that should be fine too. Anyway, hit yes to everything, and then you're going to see it go past the 70. And just like that, it's pretty much done. The system will just run through some update information, and I believe it's going to restart at least once in this process. But pretty much the custom firmware just sort of runs what it needs to run now, and nothing got deleted. The games I had on here previously, the information still seems to be there, so it didn't overwrite anything necessarily, but I don't guarantee that it won't overwrite anything for somebody else. I think if you're going to install custom firmware onto your PS3, you need to be prepared to perhaps lose some files. It's my understanding that the PlayStation Network can kick you off if they find that you have a PS3 with custom firmware and you're using their network. So just be cognizant of that too. I'm not going to have this plugged into the internet, so it shouldn't matter. So you're going to see the star with the package manager, the star with the PS3, and that's probably the only thing that you're going to see different once you load in this custom firmware, but that's pretty much all there is to it. I guess when you start the system, you'll also see this EvilNat nomenclature as well, but that's about it. And then really quickly, I do throw a PlayStation 3 game in here once the custom firmware is installed, and there's no issue. I haven't really played through very many games or anything, but all my old PS3 games seem to work just fine without any issue with the custom firmware on there. So now I'm going to install the Multiman homebrew software, and this is the Multiman version 4.85-1. Again, I'll throw a link in the description, and I'm just going to hit download on that guy right there. Once again, I'm using my computer, and I'm going to download it onto my USB stick. I was already messing around with it before I hit the record button for the video, so it already is showing up on the USB, so I'll just overwrite that. That's not necessary for you to do. I'm now going to go to Package Manager. I'm going to go down to Install Package File, hit the X button, go to Standard, and then you can see the package that I'm installing. So that's the Multiman 4.85 and hit OK, and it will install. Now there's some super annoying background music that comes in once you install this Multiman thing, so you might want to go to change your settings to remove any background music. But anyway, you can see it's now listed as MMCM, so I've now got the custom firmware installed, and I've now got Multiman installed, and I'm ready to mess around with this a little bit more as a jailbroken PS3. Anyway, thanks for checking out my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.